Okay, good morning again. This morning we have with us a special person. I have to ask her in a little while if she ever did a class with me. That is Dr. Nadine Collins. Now, Dr. Collins holds a PhD in education with an emphasis on administration and higher education. Her research focuses on women in top leadership positions. She has a master's degree in educational psychology and an undergrad degree in behavioral sciences with an emphasis in psychology. Now, she has been every which way across the world. She is a prolific presenter of, of, of motivation with a gospel focus. And this morning, she said her goal is that more women can break free from indoctrination, fear, and anything that set barriers to their advancement. So when women are in the house, I like to take a back seat and hear what it's going to give. So this morning we are going to have a great time. Dr. Collins, good morning and welcome to Victorious Lifestyle.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here. Yeah.
Well, I want to say to you, Doc, from the moment sometime last week when I posted the promo, people kept calling Pastor, good Pastor, thumbs up, Pastor, Pastor. I said, what? I say, this is the second coming here. I've never received such sort of thing. This morning, just before the program started, about 10 minutes, the personal ministry director from North Carolina, that Pastor Dale Haynes, called me this morning and said, big program this morning. So, Nadine, what is causing this? What is causing this? Talk to me.
I don't know. I'm a Caribbean woman. I love my Caribbean people. So I really honestly don't know. It's just God. I mean, I really cannot say it's just God. I have no idea. Yeah, but I'm a Caribbean woman, so that's probably it. And I'm a child of the King, and these are my kingdom brothers and sisters.
Yeah, you had me wondering. I wonder if Nadine went around paying these people to call me, boy. The torrential calls were so much. I said, and this is unusual. Well, but Nadine, I this morning I'm really happy to have you here. And you said you did empowerment, the focus, empowerment focus. What does it mean to live in God's purpose? Before we get into anything, what does it mean to live in God's purpose? What does it mean by that?
Yeah, so that's such a beautiful question, because as I travel and I speak on purpose, and I just published my first book on that topic. I'll tell you a little
promote the book. Promote the book. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to promote the book.
Oh, yeah, I have this book here, The Pursuit of Purpose, that I wrote. That's my latest, my number 8, and it's a woman's guide to activate her full potential and uniquely impact the world. And it's really focused on, living a life that is aligned with what we're going to talk about today, which is purpose, dealing with things like the fears that we have, the threats that we have to purpose, the indoctrinations that we've had about who we are and why we're here and what we're meant to do, and really being able to deal with these things that are in the background of our lives that may hinder us from really living in alignment. So you ask, what is purpose? And purpose is really any single one of us, regardless of who we are, being intentional about knowing why we are here. Because I grew up in the Caribbean, in the tiny island of St. Lucia. I am also a Bajan citizen as well, right? But I also lived in Trinidad. So my Trini friends call Trini home for me. They ask, when you coming home? So, and I really do love the Caribbean, but I grew up in the Caribbean. I grew up in St. Lucia specifically. And when we were asked, for example, what do you want to be when you grow up? The responses were always traditional things like, I would like to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a teacher, a nurse, a policeman, a woman, a fireman. It was the non-jobs. Anything else that you would say you want to do, people would look at it, maybe this is a hobby, this is something that you like, but it's not something that could create success. So I was convinced based on these norms and the way that we were indoctrinated, because I'm almost sure if you think about when you were growing up in Trinidad being asked what you want to be, it's almost the same thing. You know, we all were just so aligned with wanting to be these careers that we were told are careers that create success. And so I was convinced that that was my road to success, to financial freedom, to fulfillment. And so it was what we were taught. And that's one of the things I love about the Caribbean, is that there is such a heavy focus on education. Now, I'm saying that, and of course, with a big gap in it, right? There is this focus on education. I am a proponent for education. I believe in it. But we were taught that if you go to school, you get a good education, that means you will get a good job when you're done, right? And so we're thinking that is the path to success. That's it. We even have the song, I believe it came from Trinidad, too. Little black boy, go to school and learn. Little black boy, show some concern. Little black boy, education is the key to get you off the streets and off poverty. So we believe that inherently there is this thing, if I go to school and if I learn, then I'll get a good job. It will get me off the streets. It will take me out of poverty. And so that is the path that we were taught that would create success. But yeah, go ahead.
No, you finish your thought.
Okay, so the thing is, so since that was the path to create success, I thought that was it, right?
Okay.
And as I went through life, and we'll talk more, I guess, as we chat more, that we thought that was it. That means I'm living a purposeful life. At a point in time, I thought I was, but purpose, or living a life of purpose, is really living a life that is in alignment with what God has called you to do. Or with the reason.
How does you know, Doc? How does a person learn God's purpose? How? It's one thing to say I am doing what God wants me to do, but how do I learn that this is what God wants me to do?
So what I'm going to do first, we're going to talk about how do we actually know that what I'm saying is true?
Okay.
Because somebody could actually doubt that that's actually the case because of the indoctrinations that we've had. And so I like to really root that in Jeremiah 1:5, where the Bible actually says, even before you were conceived, I knew you and I set you apart for something. And so when we're thinking about that purpose, you're asking how do we know what that purpose is?
Yeah.
So first, we need to even believe that we actually have a divine purpose. We have to believe that it's actually true, that I am not here by chance. So before we speak on what that purpose is, Jeremiah 29:11 tells us, for I know the plans I have for you. These are plans to prosper and not to harm you, to give you hope in the future. And so purpose is that thing that we're meant to do, that thing we were born to do, designed to do, created to do. It's one amazing thing that God actually brought us into the world, that he says there in Jeremiah 29:11, it's going to give you that great expected end. So now when we believe that we were brought here for that purpose, based on the words there in Jeremiah 1:5, when we begin to believe that I am not here by chance, and that's why for example, when I speak on purpose, I first start with, who are you? Because a lot of us, when asked that question, and I realize I'm going back, because I'm going from the root and from just dealing with the root stuff that can help us now to build so we can actually live that purposeful life. So for example, who are you? And most times you ask people that question. When I ask that question, I hear things like, I'm a child of the king, I'm this, I'm that. A lot of us don't go deep or deeper to really go into the person of me. Who am I? Like, if I had to introduce myself to me, what would I say to me? And so when I understand who I am, and not just the fact that I'm a woman or I'm a man, and maybe race and all of these other demographics, because you're a researcher, you love demographics, right? Yeah. And all of these other demographics that might define me as a person, there is something that is deeper than just my demographics, something that goes beyond what people can see, which is the inner man who God created me and designed me to be. And so when I find out who that person is, and now I understand that I'm not here by chance, I'm not a mistake, because so many of us go around life. And the reason why many of us don't even find ourselves on the path to seeking purpose, on the pursuit of purpose, is because we do not have a clear understanding of who we are. because we may be thinking of ourselves in the context of who people tell us we are,
Mhm,
or
mhm.
by what means we came into the world. And so having that clear understanding of who I am will lead me now to really seek out what am I here to do. Because when I understand that I am unique, that I am not a mistake, that I'm not brought here by chance, that I'm not an afterthought, that it does not matter the circumstances around my birth, whether it was through rape, through an affair, through, you know what, back in the day, they would call children bastard children, you know, out of marriage. Whatever the
Yeah,
circumstances
yeah,
around your birth, God
yeah.
said, I already knew you before you were formed there, and I already had a path set for you. I already had a plan for you, and he promises us that that thing that we're brought here to do is going to prosper us. So now we're on that intentional journey of asking God, who created us for that purpose. The same God who said, I set you apart for something and I'm going to prosper you in it. Now we begin that intentional journey of asking God, what am I supposed to do? Why
But
am I here in the world?
is there a difference between having a career and living in God's purpose? Is there a difference?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are these differences?
The career path is the path that we've been taught by society.
Yeah.
It's the path that goes back to our indoctrinations, where we were taught you go to school, you get a good job. And so many of us, when we were in school and we were choosing careers, we were choosing them based on a need in our society. We were choosing them based on a gap. At least I know that's what I was told when I was growing up. You know, you want to look at the gap. And even in the government, in St. Lucia at least, there would be a list they call the priorities list. And that priorities list would tell you the different areas where professionals are needed. And so sometimes we go to school to study areas that would fill in these gaps so that we can have careers that may be distinct, that we would be sure that we have a job when we're done. And so that is the path of career versus the path of purpose, where God may be calling me to do something that I have never seen done before. God may be calling me to do something outside of what I studied. God may be calling me to do something outside of my comfort zone or comfort level, because purpose does not always call us to comfort. It may call us to a place of discomfort, a place where we have no blueprint that went before us, a place where we never saw anybody do this thing, but this is what I'm calling to do. Purpose calls us to walk most times in a place of faith, a road that is not paved, that you just need to trust God that this is what I'm calling you to do. And you will have to leave behind all of what you knew, or all of what you believed to be the path, and trust my path.